Good evening, trustees, administration, and presenters. Welcome to our meeting of October the 17th. We will begin our meeting with a prayer led by Maureen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to present.
It's not at my desk. Try again.
I am pleased, I'm very pleased to present and lead the prayer this evening. The prayer has been prepared for us by our religious education coordinator, Nicole Temple. And so we begin. Traditionally, in October, Catholics honor and seek support from Mary, the Mother of God. As we consider Catholic Education Week theme, we are called to love. We look at how Mary taught us to love. We can imagine Mary's love and amazement when she first gazed into the eyes of baby Jesus. We can imagine Mary's love and concern when Jesus went missing in the temple. We can imagine Mary's love and delight when she watched Jesus perform miracles and preach the good news. And we can imagine Mary's love and heartache when she watched Jesus crucified. We pray together in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Mary's words we pray, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for God has looked with favor on God's lowly servant." And your response?
Hail Mary, full of grace, help us love all the moments of lives.
From this day, all generations will call me blessed. The Almighty has done great things for me, and holy is God's name.
Hail Mary, full of grace, lead us to help others to see the good things God continues to do for the world.
God has mercy on those who fear him in every generation.
Hail Mary, full of grace, help us to be in awe of God's love and mercy for all people.
God has shown the strength of his arm. God has scattered the proud in their conceit. God has cast down the mighty from their thrones and has lifted up the lowly.
Hail Mary, full of grace, help us to lead and serve others with humility.
God has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich God has sent away empty. God has come to the help of his servant Israel, for God has remembered his promise of mercy, the promise he made to our fathers, to Abraham, and his children forever.
Hail Mary, full of grace, journey with us and remind us of God's constant love on our journey.
Mary, help us to be people of love through the challenges of these days and beyond. Push us to keep compassion as our stance and service as our practice. Together, Hail Mary, full of grace,
the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Saint John Paul II,
Pray for us.
Saint Marguerite Bourgeois,
Pray for us.
Saint Louis,
Pray for us.
Saint Thomas Aquinas,
Pray for us.
Saint John,
Pray for us.
all holy people.
Pray for us.
And we close in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Marie, for that beautiful prayer. Roll call. Trustee Angela Bishop and student trustee Jessie are both absent with regret. We've already had our committee of the whole. I'll just now ask if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 5, consideration and approval of the agenda. May I have the recommendation, please, Trina?
That the agenda be approved as presented.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Derek. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Number 6, confirmation of the minutes. The recommendation is on page 1, and may I have the recommendation, please, Trina?
That the minutes of the regular board meeting of the Kenora Catholic District School Board of September 19th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
Moved by trustee Derek, second by trustee Jeff. Any opposed? Seeing none. That carries. Actually, I meant to say trustee Lauren. He put his hand up, and I just called him Derek.
Do you want to amend the minutes to say that trustee Lauren moved the?
Yes, please. It came to me after. I'm like, I'm always calling him Derek. I don't know. Okay, sorry. Now we will move on to delegations and presentations, and we have 6 different presentations. That's amazing. So 8.1, education services. The mental health clinical supervisor. Hello, Sue. You get to start because you've been here before.
Hey, good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees and Administration. My name is Sue Devlin. I'm the mental health lead / mental health clinical supervisor with the school board. Next slide there in the back. So since 2012, the Ministry of Education made a commitment in promoting mental health in schools. And since then, every Ontario school board has a mental health leader. And some of the key priorities of the role are we provide leadership in regards to student mental health for all our schools and our students. We collaborate with board staff, community partners to promote an integrated system of care. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to navigate the system, but it can be a challenge. So we're trying to make those pathways really clear to and from and through services for any of our students requiring mental health support. There is a larger implementation strategy when it comes to mental health in schools. And all mental health leaders have to be regulated mental health clinicians who are responsible for our school board's 3-year strategy, as well as the 1-year action plan that kind of highlights what we're going to focus on that year as part of the strategy, where you do data collection, reporting information related to student needs, and then of course guidance. So I oversee the mental health team and provide any clinical guidance and support for their individual caseloads. This is this year's 1-year action plan. Our 4 pillars this year are student and family engagement, mentally healthy schools, prevention and early intervention, and strong pathways. So we continue to build on those 4 pillars for our mental health vision at Kenora Catholic. And then the next slide is our team. We are so blessed to have these wonderful individuals join our team. They all we have an art therapist, a psychotherapist, social workers. They all bring different lenses and approaches to services, and they all work day in and day out advocating and doing what's best for our students. So that is mental health in a very quick blurb and snapshot at Kenora Catholic.
Wow, that was very quick.
I was told 2 to 3 minutes.
She was.
I am so proud of her right now.
Yes, Trina's very proud of you. We'll have you back and we'll get some statistics more in depth of how many students you help. And
Absolutely.
I know it's a lot, and I know it's
astonishing the amount of work
that you
and your team do.
every day. Thank you so much. Any questions from any of the trustees?
How's the book club?
It's the first session starts Monday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So Trina knows, we had to shut the link down. We were overwhelmed with how many families signed up.
For the book club?
Yes.
Good.
She had to close the floodgates.
Yeah, I was like, we can't respond to this.
So will you be presenting to the special education group these slides by chance in the near future? Is the app?
invited to the November.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I
Okay.
feel like, yeah.
So I was just gonna ask
Yeah.
if you could share them with me, but if you're gonna present them at the November thing, then I won't.
I can't remember what you're presenting.
I can send the slides to you, Marie.
Okay, because we meet on Friday, so I thought the one with all the pictures.
Oh,
might be
like,
a good one.
um,
The SEAC committee.
SEAC for the board, not the, okay.
Yeah, for the board.
Okay, yeah, feel free to share. I'm happy to jump in and present, yeah.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
thanks.
Great.
Thank you so much. Next up, positive behavioral interventions and support leads. Sarah.
Trina might be less proud of me.
That's okay, Sarah. No problem.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees and Administration. My name is Sarah Pizer. I am the Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports Lead for KCDSB. I will use the acronym PBIS moving forward so that maybe Trina will be a little more proud of me to speed this up. I felt like there was a little bit more I needed to explain by way of my role and position, just in terms of where it came from, what even ABA and PBIS are. So I have a little bit of history, and then I'll give you a little bit of information as to what my role is. I am super excited for the opportunity to share this with you tonight. Going back to 2007, the Ministry of Education introduced PPM 140, which was incorporating methods of applied behavior analysis, or ABA, for students with autism spectrum disorder. It was a really important memorandum because it ensured that evidence-based instructional approaches that are rooted in applied behavior analysis were provided for students with ASD where appropriate, but also recognized that these supports and strategies can be very important to other students who are also accessing special education supports and services. So in 2011, thus began the journey of PBIS at Kenora Catholic. You might know that ABA uses the principles of behavior. The principles of behavior are used to support socially appropriate or socially significant behaviors. So really the goal is that we're looking at increasing contextually appropriate behaviors where we decrease contextually inappropriate behaviors. And then PBIS takes us a little step further in more of a proactive way. So in this situation, we seek to understand the purpose or function, if you will, of what a contextually inappropriate behavior may serve for an individual, such that a more contextually appropriate behavior can be taught in its place. And we do this by using non-punitive techniques, while also strengthening and modifying the environment to support the student. So in my role, what this means is that from an organizational level, I'm responsible to build educator capacity in the use of ABA-based strategies for all students, regardless of diagnosis. I'm also responsible for supporting student-specific plans for behavior change. That can include things like conducting practical functional assessments, developing and monitoring intervention and safety plans, modeling strategies, providing any necessary training, including de-escalation techniques, and monitoring student progress. New this year, we've hired a PBIS coach who's Dawn Turcott. She's able to provide now some really targeted, intensive, but really fun skill-based treatment for specific students, and this is a position that I oversee and support. The programs in the process that we're following to assist some of our most vulnerable students in achieving their academic, social, leisure, and daily living goals is really exciting. Lastly, we're funded by the Ministry of Education to provide after-school skill-based groups, primarily for autistic students, but we include all kids in the groups. And I support the planning, implementation, and co-facilitation of these groups with the support of Dawn. But really what is of kind of greatest importance is our commitment to using and ensuring a compassion-based approach in everything that we do. So over the past couple of years, we have further formalized this by embracing a very specific model of ABA supports known as universal protocol and skill-based treatment. I'm in the process of building educator capacity in the use of these technologies, such that both from an organizational and at an individual level, student behavior is approached with compassion and concern. Decisions are made based on values over procedure, and peaceful progress is made with well-planned shaping protocols in place of more punitive consequences or more risky extinction techniques. So as the PBIS lead, I'm committed to fostering inclusive, equitable, and neurodiversity affirming classrooms. Behavior supports at KCDSB strive to embrace the unique needs of every student, strive to appreciate the unique strengths of all of our students while respecting neurodiversity, and at all times, we're prioritizing the values of safety, rapport, dignity, and empowerment. So that's to say that there's a lot of tools in the toolbox of ABA. And we are ensuring that any of the tools, strategies, or supports that we're using with students are the safest, the ones that build and protect relationships, and the ones that preserve dignity and respect of all of our students. Thank you.
That was awesome, Sarah. Questions of any of the trustees on?
A bit of information.
Yeah, it's a lot to.
So this is for autism spectrum,
For any,
Yeah.
so originally the funding would have
right?
come,
But now it overlaps into all kinds. And so how do you know which students to work with? How do you?
Yeah, so really what's happened within the body of kind of ADA or PBIS research is it's been done so much within the field of ASD, but what we know is it's really good teaching and good tools to be using to support behavior change. So really there aren't any kind of counterindications that would come to mind. It's safe evidence-based ways of supporting behavior change. So for the most part, if there's teachers that are wanting support for individual students, we're able to become involved regardless of
that's kind of
diagnosis.
what
Yeah, and it fits.
Because I know behavior is on the rise.
And when we think about behavior too, is we really want to focus on thinking about building skills as well. So we talk about behavior as being anything that we can measure and observe. So we want to reduce behaviors that typically we think of, but the way to do that is by increasing some really good skills. So we're really focusing on skill building as well.
Interesting, yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is speech language pathologist Julia Lizzie. Hello. I think we've had you here once. No?
No, this is my first time.
Whoa, okay.
Well, welcome.
Maybe somewhere. SIAC, yeah, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Administration. My name is Julia Lizzie, and I am a speech language pathologist here at Kenora Catholic. So my role is to really ensure that communication is accessible for all students, and I do that by supporting speech and language development by providing assessments and direct therapy to students, as well as providing programming, recommendations, and education about communication disorders to parents and guardians and educators. So just a couple overviews of my duties. So I collaborate with educators and parents to develop functional and relevant communication goals. I support early identification and early intervention by completing speech, language, and hearing screening with all kindergarten students. I also create, provide, and supervise speech language programming that is implemented by educational assistants. And I do a lot of demonstrating and modeling speech and language therapy techniques, as well as communication enhancing techniques. As we can see in the bottom of the L, we do a lot of modeling sounds.
Are you
Demonstrating? Yeah, so we like to keep our tongue behind our teeth. And so one of my goals for the 2023-2024 school year is to increase access of speech language pathology services for students by decreasing wait lists. So we're hoping to do that by having more group therapy sessions, as well as by implementing a block therapy service. As well, my other goal is to increase whole classroom programming. So providing programming in the classroom for all students. And as we can see in this picture here, we have a sound wall, and that's a really great resource because it allows students to see where sounds are made by these visuals, and also they are able to explore how and where sounds are made within their mouths. And that's just a quick overview of my role and some goals for the school year.
okay? Any questions, trustees, to Julia? They're thinking. So you assess all the kindergartens, or?
Yeah, so we do a quick hearing, speech, and language screen. So they put on some headphones, and I quickly screen their hearing, and then they also I show them a bunch of pictures, and they're able to, I listen for their speech sounds and as well as their language absolutely grammar? Are they able to produce full sentences? Are they able to understand what I'm saying?
Wow, and so then from there you can go, okay.
Yeah, and then from there we implement referrals, and I'm able to talk to parents and guardians and provide them with some strategies that they can use, as well as connecting with educators with some strategies that they can use as well.
Help them in school. That's great, you're busy then.
Yeah. Especially at this time of year.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next up, Special Education Coordinator. Hello, Andrea.
Thank you. So, good evening, Chair Gallick, Kenora Catholic Board of Trustees, colleagues, guests. Thank you for this opportunity to formally introduce myself in the role of Special Education Coordinator here at Kenora Catholic. So my overall roles are to act as a resource person in the area of special education and learning for all, and to assist in the planning, implementing, monitoring, and reviewing of special education programming here. So these beautiful schools here in Kenora Catholic, I support the school teams in Kenora and in Red Lake learning communities to promote student success and learning for everyone. I'm called upon to interpret and facilitate the implementation of Ministry of Education guidelines as they apply to special education. Slide. And along with course system administrators, coordinators, leads, school teams, I support the implementation and review of the early and ongoing identification strategies. There's several out there, being, kindergarten screeners and the transition visits, where the very initial conversations about student strengths and needs occur during the first visits that parents and children make to the kindergarten classrooms. So that's just an example of the conversation placemat, where getting to know the learner can be jotting down interests and strengths and ways of communicating, and family info to get to know the learners, because knowing the individuals and their strengths can help support areas of need or growth. And then from, right from transition through K to 12, the ongoing monitoring and support takes place through the in-school team. And that is a process that I'll describe in the next slide for student monitoring and support, intervention and planning for special education programs or services. So next slide. The in-school team, or IST, as we're often referring to it as, is an area, the whole crew at the school, and my role is to support the team at school on a consultative basis. Each school has like a core educator team. For sure, we're principal. Sometimes at the schools there's a vice principal, depending on the school, staff, and then the learning resource teacher or teachers, who in communication and support with parents meet regularly to put their heads together to come up with creative ways to support students with their learning. They develop interventions and programming, and as needed, referrals for services such as speech language therapy, or external partners such as Firefly for school-based rehabilitation, and additional, potentially testing and so forth. So it's a real student-centered approach where the strengths and needs and innovative dialogue at the in-school team table supports the tailoring of individualized programming and any external, referrals or internal network supports that can take shape through the multidisciplinary team, positive behavior, and so forth. Each external services as well. So over to the next slide. Shout out to the SEAC, Special Education Advisory Committee. The group is legally mandated by the Education Act to meet 10 times a year. And the SEAC is comprised, as you may know, of local service providers, community member volunteers, and they're really dedicated and passionate about supporting learning for everyone. And although I'm not a voting member, my role is to be a resource to the SEAC. And their role is very vital in providing recommendations to the board about special education programs or services. And they are important contributors to the revision of the special education plan, which documents the framework for our special education programs and services here at Kenora Catholic. The next slide. Another area for the role of special education coordinator is part of instructional services team, where we collaborate to provide professional development to both the system and school teams. And at times we're, planning to bring in external presenters or delivering some of the workshops or sessions as part of our roles. And it's been really interesting and dynamic work to be able to collaborate with board contributors and coordinators, leads, mental health, team members, and various community and other partners to support the professional development or professional activities throughout our system days and at the school level as well. The next slide, thanks. So another aspect of the role is to work with school teams and our Catholic system collaborators on connecting students to the equipment and specialized services that some individuals require in order to attend school or access their learning. That funding comes through either the ministry special equipment amount or C, or there are times where students access Jordan's principal funding, and that's really just to allow the students to get the devices or technology that they require to access the curriculum, attend school, and be able to meet their goals and progress with their learning. Slide. So looking at some goals and growth opportunities this year, continuing to support professional development with focus on differentiated instruction and universal design for learning, and to continue to work with all the teams and those who support the special education review of our practices to better serve the students, their families, and the school teams, and all those that are rallying to help students meet their potential and find success with their learning. Just a note about universal design, that's ways of accessing learning or being able to connect with information that is necessary for some but good for all. So one particular item on the slide there is the Google Read and Write for Chrome, and that's a really helpful tool that is available to all of the students at Kenora Catholic, and it's necessary for those who require that text-to-speech to lift the information from the written word or voice-to-text to document their ideas and show their learning. But it's also just universally a great tool that many students may prefer to use or find it a benefit to improving their reading or writing skills. So that's just one example of something that's supported here and has been able to provide students with what they need to be successful and access their learning. And there's just so many areas that are connected with the Learning for Everyone, and it's always interesting and dynamic for creatively networking and finding ways to support students from what their goals are and what their strengths are.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren, did you learn, Lauren, did you learn a couple new acronyms?
Are you keeping a log?
I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Sorry. No, but I'm glad that you said what they were before you just said them. Because yeah, we get lost with all the acronyms.
Yeah.
I know you have. It's huge what you do. Thank you. We appreciate everything and helping all our students. Any questions? Busy job.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Education Services, Technology-Enabled Learning and Teaching Lead, Lori Baslow.
Good evening, Madam Chair, trustees, student trustees, administration, and the wonderful team. So what does a TELT do? First of all, TELT is Technology-Enabled Learning and Teaching Contact Lead, and that's a bit of a mouthful. But what I basically do is I work closely with Catholic Virtual Ontario and the Ontario e-learning consortium. And beginning of the year is super busy trying to get all of our kids into out-of-board courses, and our kids go out throughout the province. I believe most of the school boards are in the consortium. We have, at this point, we've got more students coming in to our board to take courses than we have going out, but I'm sure that's going to kind of balance off in second semester. Primarily what I've been doing so far is just working with the high school and getting everything up and running, and then I'm going to be more in some of the elementary schools helping with digital citizenship. And there's even, I'm going to show you on the very last slide when we get to it, there's a spot where some of the grade ones are even using the platform that we have. It's called Brightspace. And they can go in and they can document their learning with something similar to what Andrea was talking about, like the right technology. They can record their voices, and teacher will help them upload pictures, or their family at home can access the site and they can upload pictures and they can see their learning that way. So it's a very handy little tool. But provincially right now we're seeing a big increase in the number of students taking e-learning credits. The one main reason for this, I'm sure you guys all heard of the PPM 167, which is there's a graduation requirement for 2 e-learning credits unless families and students choose to opt out of it. Right now, they've given me the numbers from TA. Right now, we've got 305 grade 10 to 12 students. 71 of them have not opted out, so that means that's 142 seats that are going to be taken up just to fill those requirements, and that's why there's such a big push now for e-learning. Yes, we've got 53 of our students taking courses in other boards right now, and we've got 71 coming in. But I know that's going to change. Changes daily, like literally daily. E-learning allows our students to have the opportunity to take courses that we can't offer here just due to the small size of our board. One course that really caught my eye, we've got a list here. There's 28 courses that the Ontario Catholic School Trustees Association and Catholic Virtual Ontario have revamped to put the Catholic values into all the courses. And one of these ones that I thought was the most interesting is child development and gerontology. They're creating courses where there's need in the workforce. And like to be able to offer a class like that here we'd need 10 more teachers, so it's just not possible. Bright Space. They're gonna be calling for writers. We've got one teacher at the high school right now, she's writing the course for one of the French immersion programs. She's doing that currently, and in November, they're gonna put a call out to other teachers that are interested in writing courses and putting the Catholic lens into them. Next slide, please, thank you. This, I had to pull up here, from Hope Francis. And this came from an entrepreneurship course that was redone 2 years ago. And he acknowledges that things can be better with technology. I know there's a lot of negative things that can go on with technology, but this really focuses on the good. And one thing I have to say, because I've taught e-learning classes for about 6 years now, they all, like the Catholic courses, they all talk about the big picture, and it doesn't matter if it's a business class, a science class, or a math. It weaves in Catholicity into every aspect of it. And it doesn't just leave content in isolation. And if you want to go to the last slide there, that's what the page actually looks like when the kids log on. That was my religion course, grade 12 religion, that I taught this summer. And if anyone is ever interested in learning more about e-learning, I would be so happy to show you. It is incredible what you can do through here. And one of the best things that I've had the opportunity to do is teach students from other boards mixed with our students, and you can really see how our kids are excelling across the province. It is truly incredible. So, anybody wants to learn more, I will come back. Well, all up in a course. I won't mark you.
This is, whoa. I think there's going to be some questions here, Lauren.
Okay.
I think this is incredible. I just want to ask Josh and Ben if they have taken any e-learning courses yet.
Indeed, I have. Yeah, I took business last year.
And?
There was a lot of great insight. I found it really, really intense. The culminating was 40 pages.
Oh, what?
Craziness, but no, all in all, I liked it.
And you did it within the school day, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then I guess there was students from all over Ontario? Or?
Yeah, there were students from Southern Ontario, yeah.
Oh, so that's kind of great, or?
Is there any interaction with them?
There was a minimal amount, every now and then we, interact with the discussions.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on the teacher. There's little things you can do, and you can have them working on Flipgrid on another section.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Ben?
I haven't taken any yet, but I think I will this summer because I have overlapping courses and stuff, and I've only heard good things, so.
Really? Oh, that's good. Good. There's a lot of hesitation when this was first coming out. We were
I think because of COVID though, right?
Where's this?
Everybody was online forever and then they.
Well, and you know what though? I've done probably 5 or 6 courses as a student myself on this platform. And college universities, some of them are still using this for delivery full-time for certain faculties. And even businesses, on-the-job training, it's Bright Space that they're using, so it's such a good skill for everybody to. I mean, it definitely doesn't replace being in a classroom with your peers and a teacher, but there are so many things that you can do with this platform to be interactive, and so you're not just in a vacuum doing things on your own.
Well, we've already had to take a couple of online courses ourselves.
Yes. That's trustees.
Yes. Come on, it's good.
Reading, right, Marie?
No, it wasn't bad.
The Catholic virtual learning, that's just new too, correct?
I know it's been around for a couple of years, but I think maybe the last Yeah, the last year they really started to get involved in creating new courses.
Actually, that came up in last year in Toronto when we were there, but they were saying they wanted more courses, they wanted more.
So it's a very beneficial.
You're right. Yeah. I love it. Like when I retire, I want to work for them. I really, really do. It's phenomenal.
Cool.
Good.
Or I'll just take some more courses.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, next is our student president report. Joshua, Ben.
Good evening, Madam Chair, trustees, superintendents, and all welcome guests. With everyone returning from Thanksgiving weekend, the school ambiance at TA is filled with an overwhelming attitude of gratitude. There are plenty of things happening in all divisions of the school right now, which we are thrilled to share with you. With progress reports coming in the not too distant future, things are ramping up with regards to academics. This is a time of increased focus in the academic sector at TA, as students are currently striving to attain the best marks they can. Although it's wise to start the year strong in order to establish a positive trajectory, there's always the opportunity to turn things around from progressing with difficulty to progressing well if students apply themselves. The student body's attitude toward the impending reports vary, with some being enthused, while others wallows in the depths of despair. Transitioning to an update on the music department at TA, it's no understatement to say things are happening. The students in the band are excited beyond articulation for the potential upcoming trip to Montreal. My sister told me that during the trip meeting, the vibe was that of sheer joy. Coupled with this, tryouts for the vocal shows have recently concluded. To be truthful, I'm not sure who was selected for the show. Despite this, I'm still thoroughly excited for the show, as TA is fortunate to have many talented singers. Something not specific to our school, yet still relevant, is the fact that October is ADHD Awareness Month. ADHD is very prevalent, as it affects millions in the world. Although it may present as being perfectly perfect, I myself struggle with ADD. To give further insight, I have a variant of ADHD where instead of being hyperactive, I typically fly under the radar, and I have a really hard time concentrating. I'm fortunate to have influences in my life that help me build strategies and also see the advantages of neurodiversity. However, there are many kids that don't share my circumstance. I think it's important that we recognize that ADHD hamstrings those with it to varying degrees and continue to provide accommodations to level the playing field.
As far as sports go, all of our teams are partaking in Norwasa games and tournaments, and from what we've seen, it's going swimmingly. Last weekend, both our boys and girls hockey teams had their first tournaments. The boys being in Glenborough, Manitoba, where although they were very short benched, they still did a great job at representing our school, and our girls team in Fort Francis, where they won one game, but ended up falling just short in their other two. On the same weekend, both senior and junior boys volleyball teams had their first official tournament in Dryden, where the junior team came in second and the senior team fourth. Both teams putting up great amounts of effort. Switching to in-school sporting events, on Wednesday last week there was a buy-in for $2 or a canned good. Not only was this good for the morale of the school, as we got to watch our peers play, but through the collection of canned goods, we were able to help the community at large. We'd like to especially thank Miss Bernadette Martin's leadership class, who arranged a collection of food as well as a buy-in, where we raised $406. Not to be forgotten, we have a small yet robust golf club, led by our very own Mr. Roger Pavey. This club has finished their part in Norwasa, led by grade 12 multi-sport athlete Jackson Savage, who managed to overcome the competition and make it to OFSA in Windsor. Although the competition was very difficult, he put up a good fight, and the school as a whole is very proud that he made it this far. Our year so far is looking good, and we wish our coaches and athletes luck in all their future sporting endeavors.
Continuing on from last month's report, we can see that the religion classes are still taking part in the prayer labs, with one actually being held today in the chapel at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. Furthermore, Mr. Woodbeck, our chaplain, continues to teach Catholic ideals to students who would like to learn more about what we can offer to them. Also, at the beginning of the month of October, the school took part in a Thanksgiving prayer where we all learned more about giving thanks, and in general, the month of Thanksgiving is one where we all try to give thanks for things we have. Building on to the theme of Thanksgiving, Mr. Woodbeck has also begun to include in his morning prayers he gives to the school the idea of being grateful for what we have. And lastly, next month is the beginning of Remembrance. During the month of November, the theme is that of remembering the ones we lost, no matter how we lost them.
Building onto the First Nations side of things, we can see the return of our original native language teachers, of one of our original native language teachers. And I can say with the utmost certainty that she will be able to continue to teach the language effectively and efficiently as Miss Sandy Kasprick will return to the role of language facilitator. Also, last Thursday, the school held its annual Wakonje Fall Feast. Elder Terry Skeed ran the event, blessed the school's sacred items, and taught the students about the First Nation culture. The school also participated in the Stop for Truth event during the Truth and Reconciliation Week. This event's main goal was to spread awareness about residential schools. Following the theme of truth and reconciliation, the school participated in many different activities such as painting rocks, Orange Shirt Day, and a walk to Cecilia Jeffrey Residential School to honor the children.
We're grateful for the opportunity to share with all of you. I look forward to returning here for the same purpose next month.
Thank you very much, Josh and Ben. Thank you for sharing your story, Josh. Any questions, Trustee?
I like how you use that sports analogy about hamstring.
All right. We'll go on to 9, policy governance. 9. Oh. That's well done. 9.1, approval of the minutes. The recommendations, please, Trina.
That the report of the Policy Governance Committee meeting of October 3rd, 2023 be approved as circulated.
Moved by Trustee Paul, seconded by Trustee Derek. Any opposed? Seeing none. Okay. Okay, 9.2, policy 9.2.1, policy number 23, Director of Education Performance Evaluation. Nicole?
You need to refresh your memories in page 36 of your board packages. All the recommendations were presented at the policy governance meeting in October. And tonight is the night to pass the motion to accept all the changes as reviewed and presented 2 weeks ago. Any questions about those proposed changes?
May I have the recommendation, please, Trina?
That the board approve the revisions to policy number 23, Director of Education Performance Evaluation, effective immediately.
Moved by Trustee Marie, seconded by Trustee Lauren. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Okay, we'll move down to 9.6 program, 9.6.1, the 2020 to 2025 multi-year strategic plan extension. Nicole?
Page 48 in your board handbook. Again, this was reviewed and presented at the October policy governance meeting. The extension of the current multi-year strategic plan by 1 year will allow for the strategic plan to follow municipal elections every 4 years. And on an ongoing basis, a 4-year strategic plan that will align with the trustee's term of office from here on in. As presented, any questions?
Seeing none, I'll ask for the recommendation, please, Trina.
That the board approves the extension of the multi-year strategic plan for the Kenora Catholic District School Board, which was originally planned to run from 2020 to 2025 to now encompass the years 2020 to 2027.
Moved by Trustee Jeff, second by Trustee Derek. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. 9.6.2, the 23-24 math action plan. Jamie and Sarah.
So just quickly before Sarah begins, very much like to thank Sarah Burt, who is our math learning lead. She's new to the role and joining us this year, a role which is very much informed by Ministry of Education priorities regarding the math action plan at the provincial level. And today Sarah is going to do an introduction to herself and her approach to the role, her goals thus far, and also discuss the implementation strategies that are included in our local math action plan.
Thank you, Jeannie. Good evening, Madam Chair, trustees, student trustees, and administration. I'm very honored to be here this evening, and I'm very excited to be taking on my new role as board math lead. Just to give you some insight to my role, I am a part of the instructional services team. At the board level, we have a math action team, which is great that we can collaborate and get some feedback in all elements of mathematics within our system. And my overarching position looks at the system level support, implementing math, resources, assessments, programming, pretty much anything that has to do with mathematics is me. Next, please. So looking at some of my responsibilities, I do implementation and support of mathematical programming in all of our schools for KCPSB. I mentor and collaborate with the in-school math leads, plan and monitor mathematical goals and initiatives within each of the individual school communities. That's especially really interesting knowing that all schools have different dynamics and needs, so it's been very enlightening trying to navigate how to ensure all schools are being properly supported. As well, we are implementing and monitoring the early years math assessment project, so we are very fortunate to have a partnership with Carleton University that began last year. And so I am assisting in the implementation of overseeing that project. As well, that we will be discussing this evening, I am overseeing the Ministry of Education Math Achievement Action Plan. And then I'm very excited to be able to provide concrete professional development. So part of the professional development days, I'm doing some planning for, as well as any opportunities that I can take advantage of to give our teachers some extra support throughout the year. So that's really exciting. Please, thank you. So some of the goals, as I mentioned, we have the partnership with Carleton University. So what that looks like is it's mainly based within the early years, so kindergarten to grade 3. There's going to be ongoing check-ins and monitoring of student progress throughout the years. There is going to also be an intervention pilot for all grade 3 students across the system. And we will be focusing on looking at the foundational skills in math for this project. Looking at the Ministry Math Achievement Plan, it's focused on the implementation of the math curriculum, directly connected to teaching practices and instruction, and most importantly, how we are going to support our students throughout the year. Another exciting piece that we have going this year that began last year as well is we have a partnership with a company called Math with Moments. And it is with 2 mathematical experts, I will say, and they're giving us the opportunity to do a multi-year strategic plan with them to really look at what we're doing as a board for our instruction and assessment practices, how we can all better ourselves as educators for the betterment of our students and overall math achievement. So what we're going to look at this evening is the Math Achievement Action Plan, which was part of the Ministry of Education that I have to fulfill for the year. So this plan is a strategy plan that helps to boost math abilities in the classroom and overall math achievement across the board. So I will be promoting the implementation of the new math curriculum, providing opportunities for training and system level support to help meet our goals and initiatives within our board based on an assortment of information that we have looked at to meet those goals. So within the document, there are 3 main focus areas. So the first area is ensuring fidelity of curriculum implementation. So this means that we're using a variety of strategies to ensure that math achievement is occurring and improving, as well as to create more consistency in instructional and assessment practices within all our schools. Although we have significant different needs within the schools. We want to create a little bit more continuity within our math instruction and assessment practices. The second area of focus is engaging in ongoing learning on mathematic content knowledge for teaching. This is providing teachers with the opportunity to engage and adapt and apply alternative instructional practices and programming when approaching mathematics. So we're finding that some of the information that the ministry is sharing, that students are demonstrating different pathways of learning, different needs of how to connect to math and understand math, and really having opportunities to learn math in real life contexts. So giving teachers the opportunities to learn about how we can, integrate that more frequently within our mathematical practices. And then third, of knowing the mathematical learner and ensuring mathematical tasks and interventions and supports are relevant and responsive. So you can see how nicely these tie in, and the ultimate goal is to ensure that we are understanding the needs of our students and how we can use a variety of sources to best reach as many students as we can within our board and the achievement in mathematics. So today we will be looking at the strategies of how I am hoping to achieve this framework that the ministry has asked of us. And one of the tools that they have recommended is called the Taking Action in Math Framework tool. And it is a great resource to help navigate how we can better understand the needs and strategies that we can use within board level, school level, as well as classroom level. So we're going to take a look at that. So the first one in the area of ensuring fidelity of curriculum implementation, some of the board strategies I hope to implement is system-wide use of math programming. So we have been very fortunate that all of our elementary schools have access to the same math program, which is really exciting. As mentioned before, we have a partnership with John Orr and Kyle Pierce, who are the founders of Math Make Moments. So we have already started doing a lot of work and sharing out that information with staff, which is very helpful. We are beginning to use more consistently the use of digital resources across all grade levels, which is very becoming more prominent, as Lori discussed, creates more accessibility to all of our students, regardless of how they are learning. And then really thinking about how to intentionally and explicitly build connections during professional development days for our staff. So at a school-based level, we are going to support informal and formal professional learning opportunities for our board with me. So it's been a really exciting time in the schools at the beginning of the school year. I have been a busy bee all over the place, and it's been a wonderful experience getting to know all the staff, seeing what their needs are, and how I can assist everybody to the best of my ability. As well, using professional development tools and resources in math programs and with the partnerships that we have. So trying to share out as much as I can from the sessions that I'm learning through the Ministry of Education, through Math Make Moments, as well as with the Carleton partnership. And then in the classroom, providing and encouraging system-wide assessment tools such as observational checklists and marking scales. So in having system-wide programs, I'm hoping to encourage teachers to access these great materials that we have to offer within the programs, and just getting more familiar with things like the observational checklist, just to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our students and having those intentional check-ins with them. As well as teacher engagement and opportunities to receive professional learning with high impact instructional strategies for mathematics. So really thinking about kind of a new way of teaching math with, those old resources, right? Because there's great information within all of the tools that we have. It's just learning how to use them in a way that's going to meet our students. So the second area of engagement, ongoing learning on mathematics content knowledge for teaching. Our board strategies are collaboration with grade level groups and professional learning. So for the upcoming PB, I'm really excited to have the opportunity to put the teachers with grade division panels, and then they will be meeting with all of the same grade groups. And it's going to be a really fun day, I think, to see the, really meaningful conversation that will come out with getting to, meet with all the grade 6 teachers and all the kindergarten teachers, because those opportunities just don't happen as much as we would like them to. As well, with the Math Make Moments partnership, we have a multi-year strategic plan that's going to help us really hold ourselves accountable in ensuring that we're reaching those goals or modifying the goals if we are seeing change of need within the schools. At the school level, some strategies we will be using are that implementation of the early years project. So using the universal screener from kindergarten to grade 3 to make sure that we are monitoring the progress of our students and catching them when they need that direct intervention, as well as have math team meetings in collaboration with the in-school math lead at St. John Paul II. So we're very fortunate to have a position at SJP this year and really making sure that we're working as a team. And then within the classroom, providing and modeling environmental strategies to help build student confidence and excitement to learn mathematics. So I was surprised to learn in some of the data how much students still don't like math. And it's such a big shock. So it's definitely an area of growth that we need to work on. I think I was surprised because with the little kids, like the primary students, they love to learn, right? And there's a lot of students who are unsure about math. So I think it speaks very loudly of the work that still needs to happen within that modeling of approaching mathematics. So definitely something we're gonna be working on this year. And then the last one of knowing the mathematics learner and ensuring mathematical tasks and interventions and supports are relevant and responsive. So some of the strategies at the board level, understanding the connections of the data reviewed from a variety of resources for student achievement. So really taking a deep dive into the report cards, EQAO, board-wide assessment initiatives, and seeing what trends, patterns, what relevant information that we really need to hone in on to make sure that we are meeting our students, as well as providing our teachers with resources and instructional and assessment strategies to reflect what we are seeing in that data. As well, system level math action teams, so collaborating with the de-streaming lead, the early years numeracy and literacy intervention. It's very much a collaborative approach as everyone has fantastic information and insights to offer from the high school, from early years, and really, focusing as a team. School strategies, monitoring student achievement for at-risk group students, as well as working below provincial grade in mathematics. So making sure that the students who we have identified as at-risk students, having those intentional goals and plans for those students and what we can do to make sure that we are seeing student achievement with them throughout the year. Using the early years math intervention pilot from Mathematics Partnership. So that is a part of the Carleton University project that we are doing. And as mentioned earlier on, we will be focusing on our grade 3 students this year. So I'm really curious and excited to see how that's going to progress and to see the data come out of that project. And then use of assessment tools to monitor student achievement throughout the year. So another program that we have offered to our system is Knowledge Hub, and it's a digital tool to help with ongoing check-ins, assessments, activities, just to have that intentional accessibility in monitoring where your students are at, and all teachers have access to it. So that's really exciting. And then within the classroom, collaborate and provide teachers with updated information to help adapt lesson planning in response to information being collected from a variety of resources. So I would say that's going to be a big part of my job this year, is me being accountable to the information that I'm seeing, the information that's being provided, and directly making those connections to the classroom and to our students, because that's what counts. That's what counts. So yeah, so lots of work to do, but I'm very excited, and little by little, I think we have an excellent system and amazing teachers, and it's already been so fulfilling and exciting. So yeah, that's what I have to say. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Oh, you just started right in September?
I did.
Wow, wow, you've been working very hard. That was phenomenal, like, that's a lot to do in a short period of time. Any questions?
Is the focus any particular grades? I mean, obviously, we always talk about EQAO grades.
Yeah.
And early years, you mentioned a number of times.
For sure. For this year, I think one of the pivotal years will be grade 3, but there is a lot of support within the early years. We're so fortunate to have a D-streaming league for grade 9s and 10s. So I think it's going to be everywhere, and there's going to be targeted intervention in different pockets throughout the year, which I think is a reflection of where the student need is, right? When we see...
It just seems...
No, go ahead.
It's lots.
It is lots, yes.
But as I'm watching that and listening to that, I can't help but think that every class needs that.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And when math is a year-on-year learning,
Yeah.
you know, when you just come in and parachute into grade 3, and then we're going to do all this for grade 3, you know, maybe if that happened in grade 1 and 2, the grade 3 wouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying so I was just wondering how broad an opportunity it is to.
100%. Like this year, it's a pilot project for the intervention program that we're getting for the grade 3s. And we're optimistic that that program is going to further from just piloting from 1 year and one specific grade. But even the progress that we've made from last year with this early years screening project to this year, we're already seeing how we can evolve and support. And I think that's all you can do, right? You have to have a starting point and you have to grow. You can't conquer it all in 1 year. I would love to.
No, I mean, I guess we'd love that too, right? Yeah. But,
yeah.
So, but that is the goal, to eventually have those pieces in place for all grades so that we can, you know, identify and make sure we're meeting the needs of all of our students.
And I also like the idea of all the grade 6s teachers getting together. I thought that was great. And again, I thought, well, all the grade 4 teachers would love to do that too, maybe. You know what I mean?
And they are, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so
like
for
it's
the
just not for the,
no,
you know.
they're all going to have an opportunity to collaborate with each of their own grade.
That's helpful, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if they get grade specific or, you know, kind of a help.
Absolutely, yeah.
With the new math curriculum too, the teachers haven't had a whole lot of time to be able to be with it. So it's a lot being thrown on them.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. Just to have the time to be able to play with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. The recommendation, please, Trina.
That the board approves the endorsement of the 2023-2024 Math Achievement Action Plan for the Kenora Catholic District School Board as presented.
Moved by trustee Derek, seconded by trustee Marie. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. 9.6.3, 23-24 class size report. Allison.
Sorry, I don't have the copy printed that's in your board book, so I can't reference the page that it's on.
51, I think.
51 is the briefing paper? Okay, it's a short, sweet one. So, as outlined in the Ontario Regulation 132.12 class size, School boards are required to submit detailed reports of their elementary class sizes data to the Ministry of Education each year. Each board shall select a date between September 1st and September 30th. And this is when the class sizes in the elementary schools will be determined. So just for reference, full day junior kindergarten and kindergarten classes, that's how they're referred to in the regulation. So the average class size shall not exceed 26. The class size limit is 29. 10% or less of the classes may have a class size that exceeds the limit but does not exceed 32 in any of the following circumstances. So if it would reduce a kindergarten grade 1 split, if it would negatively impact a program, for example, French immersion, and if the purpose was due to accommodations, and that has to do with the size of the school. Grades 1 to 3, all classes shall have 23 or fewer pupils, and 90% of the classes in the board shall have 20 or fewer pupils. Grade 4 to 8, the average class size shall not exceed 24.5. So for Kenora Catholic, as of September 15th, so that's our count date for elementary class size reporting, the board, we are compliant under the Ontario Regulation 132.12. So our key statistics, so the average kindergarten class size is 22 students. So we are below the average of the ministry requirement, which is 26. We don't have any kindergarten classes between 30 and 32 students, and we don't have any classes over 32 students. 100% of our primary classes, grades 1 to 3, are under 20 pupils. And the average junior intermediate, grade 4 to 8 classes, is 22.9 students. So there are no budgetary or financial considerations at this time. And the communication and recommendation is that the Board of Trustees accept this report and the report be submitted to the Ministry of Education by October 31st.
Any questions for Allison? None. We'll move to.
Allison did her magic again.
Great job.
What the numbers come in.
When I get it, I'm like, how are we gonna do it?
Classroom planning.
I don't do that part.
Well done, whoever did it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we need the recommendation, please, Trina.
That the board accept the 2023-2024 class size report as presented.
Moved by trustee Lorne, seconded by trustee Marie. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Okay, we'll move to 9.8 other, 9.8.1 OCSTA 2023 Fall Regional Meeting Report. Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ontario Catholic School Trustees Association Northwest Regional Fall Meeting was held on October 5th in Thunder Bay at the Catholic Education Center. In attendance were trustees from the 4 Catholic school boards, along with the directors of education from each of the Catholic boards. Nicole and I attended on behalf of our board. The chair of the Thunder Bay Catholic School Board, who was the host board, Francis Renneris, welcome everyone to the meeting. The gathering prayer was given by the Most Reverend Fred Colley, Bishop of Thunder Bay. Bishop Colley also expressed his very strong support of Catholic education in Ontario. He encourages all the local priests to take part as much as possible with the schools in providing Catholic education to all the students that we serve. Bishop Colley also indicated to the group of wanting to restart the diocesan portion of the regional meeting, which has not taken place due mostly to the pandemic, COVID-19. There are 5 regional meetings that are held through the province, and our regional meeting, our regional section of it, we're the only one that has the diocesan part of the meeting. OCSTA President Patrick Daly brought greetings from the provincial board and gave everyone present an update on what is happening, negotiations with all of the bargaining units, plus what current initiatives that the association is involved in, and along with other things as well. There were 3 other workshops that OCSTA gave that were in attendance. Pastoral care, practical strategies of adult faith formation for Catholic leadership development. The second one, an introduction to the new trustees module, dignity of the human person, diversity, equity, inclusion. And the last one, consultations from Bill 98. The last part of the meeting was the presentation of each of the 4 Catholic district school boards. There was a common ground that all 4 of the boards had, was how our small boards have issues that southern boards do not have, such as staffing shortages, both full-time and part-time, shortages of qualified teachers and administrators, transportation issues, plus all the boards indicated that some of their successes that happened since last year. Anything I'm missing? Nicole?
You did a good job. I had my stuff here just in case. I do. I was like, I didn't know if you were gonna throw me under the bus.
That was a transportation issue.
Yeah, I was like, no, that you covered everything as well. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Trustee Landry?
Did you bring up our funding issue?
Our funding issue, yeah.
That was sort of brought up with Patrick Daly and Nick. Melanetti. There was an issue that Angela brought up that.
Oh, yeah, what was that?
Rurality.
Yes.
I gave them a copy of that and they were very intrigued with that too.
And they actually brought it up in front of the whole group, that whole percent.
Yeah.
Information to them and that they were going to look into it, but they were not aware of it.
Perfect.
So that did tie into what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Then we will move on to number 10, Committee of the Whole. May I have the recommendation, please?
That the board accept the report of the Committee of the Whole and all recommendations contained therein.
Moved by Trustee Jeff, seconded by Trustee Derek. Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. So we'll go down. Your next meeting is November 7th, and the chair for that meeting is Jeff. That is not the next meeting. The next meeting. Wait, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, sorry.
Already, we're already
Time is going by. Yes, Jeff. And, yeah, so Jeff.
Good luck. I won't be here, but Paul will be.
And then, was there any other mentions that you wanted to say, Trina, on
The
any
only thing I can
dates?
think about is that we're very excited to have our Christmas party coming up, happening on the 14th. So please do register. We do have a maximum amount of people that we can have, so we want to make sure our trustees are registered and we're aware.
Okay.
So please register.
Please do.
I did.
I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Great, great.
I was first.